So this is a terrible idea whose time has not come. It's the National Guard. First of all, you'd have to federalize them into this kind of role. States are going to be very resistant to having the National Guard used in this way. Second of all, they absolutely have no training to deal with law enforcement in this kind of manner. In fact, there's a federal law, Posse Comitatus Act, that prohibits the National Guard from being used for law enforcement. Now, the administration might argue they're being used to enforce federal law, not civil law in the state, but I think it's still a grave question mark. And many of them happen to be law enforcement personnel, firefighters, civil servants. To think that you would pull them out of their very important civilian roles to have them do a job for which they were not trained, in which they could expose themselves, in which many of them won't want to do, is just really a misuse of their commitment to serve the country as guardsmen. Yes, we have the Posse Comitatus Act actually prohibits using military personnel to enforce civilian laws, and there's a reason for that, because this country was founded to remove oppression of the king using military forces in civilian communities. So it would be absolutely unprecedented. It's like trying to find a way to double or triple the size of the Border Patrol without ever having to go to Congress to ask for an appropriation to be able to do that. Well, the president has been so eager to demonstrate that he's making progress on his campaign commitments, especially commitments for things like building the wall and removing undocumented immigrants from the country, that they're trying to figure out how to circumvent having to actually go to the Congress to pass a law, to get an appropriation, to implement policies and organizations that already work. So in their haste to try to figure out, is there a faster, quicker way to do this, they're coming up with all sorts of what would be considered completely out-of-the-box ideas. This is clearly an out-of-the-box idea, but it's one that needs to be put back in the box.